Considered as one of the safest and happiest countries in the world, Norway also has a booming economy. This small country, which is home to just over 5 million people, has one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world. But how did Norway become so rich? In the early 1950s, Norway's economy was mainly based on agriculture, timber, and fishing. All Norway really was in the first half of the 1900s was a smallly populated working class country. But in the 1960s, this seemed to have all changed. Norway knew that if they managed to get rights to their own portion of the North Sea, they'd be able to find something big. So in 1963, they managed to get these rights and they began to explore. And in 1969, they found a lot of oil. Norway's economy jumped from being worth next to nothing in 1970 to being worth over $500 billion just 40 years later. At their peak, Norway was exporting 1 billion barrels a year in 1997, and still to this day they export around 650 million barrels of oil per year. Norway exports its oil to countries all across the world. The majority, around a quarter of it, goes to the UK, but a lot of it also goes to countries such as China, the Netherlands and the USA. And of course, all of these exports mean Norway was bringing in a lot of money. Just last year, Norway still managed to bring in 424 billion Norwegian kroners, which is $50 billion. But what did Norway actually do with all of this extra money? Unlike these other oil-rich countries, they didn't spend their money building the tallest buildings in the world, building brand new hotels and extravagant airports. Instead, they decided to invest it. In 1990, Norway founded the Government Pension Fund Global, or more simply known as the Oil Fund. Norway knew that relying on their oil exports for their economy was very unsustainable, and so this fund set out that all of the revenue that Norway gained from exporting its oil was to be reinvested into a fund that would benefit the current and future generations of Norway. Norway's sovereign wealth fund currently holds $1.1 trillion in assets, making it the biggest in the world. This fund is even higher than the likes of China and the United Arab Emirates, who have much higher populations than Norway's 5 million, which shows just how rich Norway has become. Because this government fund from Norway is worth about $1.1 trillion, that means every single Norwegian citizen is worth about $200,000 on paper. But this money isn't actually directly accessible by the citizens or even the government. The government's only allowed to take out up to 3% per year in order to make sure that enough money is kept in that can be left for future generations. The fund itself is invested into 3 different assets: stocks, bonds and real estate, and the fund overall achieves a respectable 5.8% annual return. This fund helps to power the Norwegian economy and make sure that no Norwegian citizen ever goes homeless or ever gets sick and can't get treatment or ever needs to pay for education. Overall, Norway's discovery of oil in the 1960s helped boost them to become one of the richest countries in the world. But it's the management of this oil money which makes Norway different, with some people even claiming that Norway have the perfect economy that other countries should try to follow.